The Golden State Warriors got 2 massive wins over the weekend. They got some great news from it for Dub Nation. But before we get into all that, as Golden State did make a sneaky signing, which we'll touch on in the back half of today's show, we are on our way to 75,000 subscribers right here at Warriors Today. Less than 200 subs away, and listen, I can't thank you guys enough for subscribing to the channel and showing all the support that you have over this last month or so. It's been a record month here at the channel, and we're trying to get bigger every day. So we need 199 diehard Warriors fans to go down below and hit that sub button right now. What's going on, Dub Nation? You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and unfortunately, I was not able to watch the absolute greatness that we saw on the basketball floor in Golden State against the Dallas Mavericks. For Iggy's jersey retirement, get the nines down in the comments section. Shout out Iggy. But Golden State absolutely blew the doors off the Dallas Mavericks, getting revenge for the loss that they suffered, the only loss they have suffered thus far in the Jimmy Butler era, now 5-1. And some great news has come out of all of it. Obviously, having a blowout win is great news for Golden State, but what really has caught my eye over this stretch, ever since acquiring Jimmy Butler, is Golden State's success with Jimmy on this team and being able to have Steph on the bench and still have success with 30 not out there on the floor. In the 6 games before the Jimmy Butler trade to Golden State, the Dubs were a minus 90 in the non-Steph Curry minutes. Since Jimmy Butler has come along, a plus 30. So a 120-point difference in the non-Steph minutes since Jimmy has arrived. He has been the absolute perfect fit for this Warriors team so far. Had a really solid outing against Dallas. I mean, nothing too crazy. He has yet to flash an elite scoring game outside of that debut where he had 25. But again, Jimmy affects the game in so many different ways and just alleviates pressure, and it just affects multiple facets, both on offense and defense, that have made Golden State a totally new looking team. A plus 28 yesterday. He has been far in the pluses and the plus minus basically since he came here to Golden State. And he's been awesome in the 6 games so far. 20-point per game score. That's not something that he was for the most of the season heading into the trade deadline, where he was getting suspended 3 times and never really got a rhythm and was having arguably the worst year of his career, dating back to when he wasn't really getting a ton of minutes early in those Bulls days. But Jimmy's we added a 25-5 scorer or 25-5 player to this Warriors rotation, and the entire team looks way different. I mean, the number that sticks out to me on that graphic that you just saw right there is 9.2 free throw attempts per game. 9.2. That is an element that Golden State just didn't have previously, with Andrew Wiggins being the second, third option, whatever you want to call it. And another thing that Jimmy gives that maybe Wiggs didn't have the best at, Jimmy gives you some swagger. And Steve Kerr knows it. Draymond knows it. Steph knows it. It has been an amazing run with Jimmy so far, and I can't wait to see what this Warriors team does next. You got Bill Simmons saying that he's not sleeping on this team. Like, people were starting to believe in this Golden State Warriors roster, and so am I. I don't know, man. I got the bad word down there. You know what that one says. I'm starting to believe. Thanks. Shout out to Warriors NBCS Bay Area for tweeting this out. You get a good social media intern team over there, because this is a classic. Thank you for changing my life, Jimmy Butler. On defense, he's been super active and jumping passing lanes, and it's not the same regular season Jimmy that we've seen over the past 5-6 years at this point, where he just turns it on in the postseason. Golden State's on a 27-game postseason sprint right now to go try to secure a spot that is not in that play-in tournament, and Jimmy is a catalyst for getting all that done right now, which brings me to this question. Grade Jimmy Butler's Dubs tenure through the first 6 games. I know it's a small sample size, but it's a temp check. It's only getting better as each game passes by, and he gets more acclimated to this system. Grade his tenure through 6 games down for me in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F. Not the only good news. Jimmy, he's been awesome. And his ability to lead the second unit and units without Steph on the floor has been sensational. But more good news has come after the Butler trade. And you know what? To give him credit, a little bit before the Butler trade, he was kind of really turning it on here. And that's my guy, Pods. I can't believe it. And you guys probably can't either. I'm saying my guy, Pods. He has been incredibly, maybe not scoring efficient, but overall, making the right plays, being a good connector, putting his body on the line defensively. 17-13 yesterday. The guy's 6'4". 13 boards against the Mavs team, which I know is facing a ton of injury in the front court. And they're not exactly the biggest team right now without Anthony Davis. But super active and a team high plus 30 against Dallas. Pods is really blossoming in front of our eyes, and he's becoming the player that the front office and ownership thought that he could be when they held him out of trade talks over the summer. I mean, check out this tweet from Anthony Slater where he's kind of coming back to what the greatness he was showing in his rookie season. I'm not going to say that Pods is primed to be a multi-time All-Star, but he's been an incredibly important piece for this Warriors run right now. A plus 109 in the last 6 games and is now the season leader in Warriors plus minus like he was in his rookie season. He had a big rut in December, January, and I was honestly questioning whether or not he would be a long-term piece for this team. It's clear to me now that he has become that, and he's getting really put on a lot of really tough defensive assignments. They had him guarding Malik Monk against Sacramento. They had him guarding Kyrie against Dallas, but they had a back line behind him, and they've created a defensive stalwart unit between Jimmy, Draymond, and Pods. 108 minutes together so far through these 6 games. A plus 58 on the court together. This unit is elite. They are defensive menaces because they have a defensive rating of 98.7 when they're all 3 are on the floor. Keep in mind, over a 82-game sample size or whatever's, however many games teams have played so far this season, that would be by far the best defensive rating in the NBA. For the people who've said that Wiggins is this elite on-ball defender, and he is, don't get me wrong, he is. But Jimmy transforms the team defense. He gets a lot of guys to buy in. It makes a lot of guys' jobs easier when you have a guy like Butler roaming and Draymond roaming and Pods being able to play one-on-one defense against some of these elite ball handlers when he has the help with Jimmy and Draymond behind him. Love this trio, and I can't wait to see more of them on the floor together because they've had massive success so far. Now, coming up next, I told you at the beginning of the show, the Dubs made a sneaky signing. And we have a Jonathan Kuminga injury update to round out today's show. But before we get into all of that, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform because it's daily fantasy made easy. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 player stat projections and just pick more or less. It's that easy. Pick a sport. Basketball, baseball's coming around soon. You got hockey, you got esports, you got college sports. They have it all on PrizePicks. And you can win up to 1,000 times your money. It is awesome. And I've been a customer even before they were a sponsor here at Chat Sports. I got a lineup for you guys that I'm rolling with tonight. And it's in the basketball slate. We got Josh Giddey, less than 15.5 points. I'm selling high on Josh Giddey here, who's had a couple of really great scoring outings over the past few. Michael Porter Jr. in a fast-paced game against the Indiana Pacers. Give me more than 6.5 threes. Get him up, MPJ. And then give me Cade Cunningham, less than 20.5 field goal attempts. He's really not taken that many attempts on average, but has had a couple of big scoring outings. I'm selling high on those attempts as well. You can tail my picks. You can fade my picks. Just make sure you go and do it at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our promo code CLNS for $50 instantly when you place your first $5 entry. You don't even need to win to receive the $50. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. All that information will be clickable down in the comment section and description of today's video. All right. The sneaky signing that Golden State has made. Another 2-way deal that is coming to Golden State and, I guess, Santa Cruz with the C-Dubs now. From Shams Charania last night. I don't know if a lot of people caught this one, but it could be intriguing. Golden State signing Australia's Taran Armstrong to a 2-way contract. His agent tells ESPN. Armstrong, a 6'6" point guard, has been a standout in the Australian National Basketball League and now comes over to the States to play in the NBA. A little bit about Taran Armstrong here, who's been in the States before. He's played over here. He played in college with Cal Baptist, and it was filling up the stat sheet over there in the Big West as well. 10.9 points per game, 5-5 as well. He's been really an awesome player throughout his career, a multifaceted player who's drawing comparisons to Josh Giddey, who we just had in the PrizePicks before. Use that promo code CLNS. But he's a 6'6" guard. He's 23 years old, a young guy with a lot of potential, and maybe his coming over to the NBA is something that he's going to have to work on the defensive end. But on the offensive end, he can dribble. He can play make. He can drive to the cup. He's a crafty finisher. And he's a solid outside shooter as well. He's actually improved his outside shot from college to playing overseas in Australia. So I've loved what I've seen in the highlight tapes. I'm not going to say I've done a ton of film study on Taran Armstrong, but I'm excited to see maybe the opportunities that he might get in this Golden State lineup. Maybe a little bit less past Pat Spencer. This from Sam Vecini of The Athletic, though, on Armstrong, because I wanted to get a little bit more insights and see what other people were saying about the signing here. He said, Armstrong was a very obvious 2-way. Makes a ton of sense for the Warriors to do this. Worthwhile investment in a really intriguing player long-term, who took a big jump in Australia this year. His numbers went way up. Super smart, great feel. Pull-up has improved enough to build a base from. I'm excited for Taran Armstrong because he's put up big numbers in the NBL, and that's a really tough league. One of the tougher overseas leagues out there, in my opinion. They play elite defense over there, and it's a very structured style of basketball, and he's really taken that structure and kind of run with it. 17, 5, and 5 over in the NBL. Listen, I'm not going to say that these numbers are going to translate exactly to the NBA, but for a 23-year-old showing these type of abilities at this point, he's got a pretty solid base and foundation to be able to maybe make this rotation next season, perhaps. Golden State's already had a bunch of success with two ways we'll talk about in just a moment. Because why do I feel like this guy's going to make the team? Like, I kind of feel like this guy is going to be on the roster next year and maybe playing big-time minutes for Golden State. 6'6" point guard. If he improves that defense a little bit, he could be a long piece that could actually be very serviceable on that end for Golden State, who's really trying to rebuild their defense at this point. But get in the comments for me right now. What do you guys think? What's your one-word reaction to the Warriors signing Taran Armstrong? Sound off for me down in the comment section with what you guys think on the signing. And to kind of give Golden State a little bit of credit and maybe rationalize the Taran Armstrong making Golden State's rotation into this roster maybe next season, they've had success with two-ways before, and they're having one right now. Remember who they just signed to a standard deal off of a two-way contract? Our guy, Quinten Post, QP. Two-way contract to too important on this roster. He has been starting games. He's been playing big minutes. He has been scoring the double digits very often, active on the glass for a guy who isn't the best at the rim player, really active as a playmaker as well, underrated passer out of the post and in the high post. Not the most efficient game against Dallas, but he has been incredibly efficient from long range. That's been something that this Golden State team has also lacked when, you think about them not trading for Nikola Vucevic. Seems like they're putting a lot of faith into Quinten Post, and Steve Kerr is putting a lot of faith into Quinten Post as well in really crucial situations. Listen to this from Anthony Slater. He says, Post contributions have also been paramount in small doses. Kerr is opening the second and fourth quarters with 4 starters on the floor, replacing Curry with Post, a star point guard, with a rookie center. Steve Kerr's a psychopath. That is actually a lot of responsibility to be placing on a guy who has only showed you, 15 games or less so far in his Warriors tenure? Not a ton of burn for Quinten Post, but they have a lot of faith in the guy because he provides an element and allows Golden State to be really spaced out. More from Slater here. He says, but he has held his own, providing a slowly improving level of defense, physicality, and awareness to the rare skill, a 7-footer who can really shoot it. That should keep him in the NBA for a long time. Post made 2 more threes against the Mavericks, making him 30 of 72 from deep in his 270 career minutes. That means he's just hitting 41.7% of his threes on 9.6 attempts per 36 minutes. An eye-popping accuracy and volume combination for a stretch big. Keep it up. Keep it up. You're going to be playing minutes in the postseason for Golden State if you're hitting threes at that clip. I love Quinten Post, and he has been a welcome addition and kind of gives you guys a little bit of an idea of Golden State's ability to turn two-way kind of guys to standard players who were making big waves in their rotation right now. Now, a reminder before we get into this last little news nugget for you guys on this Warriors Today video. Reminder, tune in next video for Tuesday trivia. Now, I don't know if that's going to come out actually on Tuesday. It might be the day after, as Golden State does play tomorrow, and we will be live here on the channel, so make sure you do tune in for that. But Tuesday trivia coming back next video. Make sure you guys tune in. All right, last little update here before we get out. Jonathan Kuminga, according to Slater, scrimmaged yesterday, first 5-on-5 live contact, important step in his impending return. Kuminga will miss these next 2 home games, so Dallas and Charlotte, which they will be playing tomorrow, and he's really reevaluated prior to the 5-game road trip. It kind of sucks. We just keep getting these reevaluations. It's an ankle sprain. It's been almost 2 months now. Kind of needs to come back. And I'm not saying he needs to come back tomorrow when Golden State plays the Hornets. It's not that big a deal. But I did want him to come back for this game because, it's kind of a tune-up game. Golden State's going to win. Golden State plays the Hornets in Golden State one more time tomorrow, and I want Kuminga to be a part of that to kind of get his legs back under him. Hopefully Golden State wins in a blowout, and he can kind of get not as many minutes as he may require toward the tail end of the season into the postseason against a really bad team from the Eastern Conference. Well, let's look at the 5-game road trip that Kuminga will be reevaluated beforehand. Magic, Sixers, Hornets, Nets, and Knicks. I said those in the wrong order, but I will say it looks to me like it's got to go 4-1 minimum. Looks to me like this has got to go 4-1. I can drop one of the Knicks or the Magic. But the other three, you got to take care of those guys. They're tanking in the East. They don't want to win. Maybe Philly does. I don't know. They stink though. They're doing a bad job at whatever they're trying to do. And Golden State gets out of here 5-1 potentially over the next 6 games. Like that would be 10-2 in Jimmy Butler's first 12 games as a Warrior. It's a great pace to be on if Golden State wants to go out there and get that 6th seed. You predict it for me now though. What does Golden State go over the next 6 games? Because I'm including the game against the Hornets on Tuesday night. So let me know what your confidence is and what your record prediction is for Golden State's next 6 outings. That'll be it for today's edition of Warriors Today by Chat Sports. Make sure you are subscribed. We're on our fast track to 75,000 subscribers. And then the next goal is like 100K, man. I can't wait to keep growing with you guys. Thank you all so much for the support. If you're a diehard Warriors fan, you'll love the content we got going on here at Warriors Today. So hit that sub button. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go Dubs.